Hello everyone, please confirm the audio and video once. The audio and the video. Come on. Welcome to Super Grads and continuing the tradition that I've always been doing. I'm going to solve a few poem-based questions, poem-based RC sets according to XAT, Xavier's Aptitude Test. My name is Abhishek Leela Pandey, and this PPT that you're seeing right now, yeah, it looks very creative and all sorts of imagery is there because I want you to be in the feel and the mood of poetry. So I would say it's the purest form of literature, isn't it? Good evening, Khushbu. Okay, so let us have a brief introduction about me. But before that, today what are we going to do? First of all, we'll be discussing the pattern of poem-based RC passages in CAT, in XAT. Second, types of questions asked, and then figures of speech as well. So I'll be taking some figures of speech, not all, but if you want it, then I can have an entire session dedicated to figures of speech completely. Fourth will be poems and questions based on them. All right. Am I audible, Khushbu, and others who are watching? So I would like to just tell you this is not what Zat will ask, but I think you should know the basic difference between prose and poetry. Prose is a form of literature that is ordinary language and has a natural flow of speech. It is distinguished from poetry, which uses the formal meter and rhyme. When I say meter and rhyme, that means there are certain pattern or the kind of words, the number of words which are fixed. So it follows the pattern. And rhyme, you understand that is rhyme. It's lyrical. There is a rhyme. A B B B A, something like that. That is a rhyme. Prose typically consists of sentences and paragraphs and is used for a variety of genres, including novels, essays, short stories, and newspaper articles. Basically, whatever you see in the RC passages, that will be coming under prose. But what you see in that there are two kinds of passages. One is prose, other is poetry. It's a genre of literature that uses imaginative and often rhythmic language to express an idea, evoke emotion, or tell a story. It is often used to convey complex emotions and ideas in an accessible and creative way. Poetry can take many different forms from traditional rhyme schemes to free words. When I say free words, that means there will be no lyric, it will just be a collection of lines one after the other. Hi, Samarth. So I hope. So tell me now. I think the exact distinction difference between prose and poetry is clear to all of you. All the RC passages will come under prose, but in that we also have RC passages which come under poetry. Is that clear, everyone? Tell me in the comments. Be quick. Cool. This will be a series of that sessions which will be dependent on RC, VA, logical reasoning, data interpretation, entire quant in three different divisions, that is arithmetic, geometry, and algebra. I'll take algebra, so then we will take geometry and arithmetic, and then we'll be having decision making, critical reasoning, and everything. Yeah, Harsh, Pachan here. Hi. So, poetry are essentially of three major types: narrative, lyric, and dramatic. In narrative, we have epics, ballads, and metrical tale. Epic. Epic is a long poem. For example, by the way, let me ask you a GK question. In that, there can be GK as well. So tell me, which is the longest epic? Which is the longest epic? Who will tell me? Epic is a huge poem. It is divided into chapters like a novel is, and it has got so many chapters. It is essentially a single story with different chapters. So which one is the longest poem, longest epic? Any idea? I'll give you a clue. It's Indian. It's Indian. Come on, tell me. Be quick. It's the Mahabharata, consisting of 100,000 verses, whereas Ramayana consists of 24,000 or 28,000. Just check it out, Google it out. I think it's 24,000. That is the other epic. There can be more epics. For example, a Song of Fire and Ice, on which the the series Game of Thrones is based. Okay, ballad. So ballads are basically heroic wars. For example, Iliad, a ballad. Metrical tale. Metrical tale is basically, when you read it, it will look like AAB, BBA, AAB, BB. So different kind of metrics are used to tell an entire tale or an entire story. So it's a narrative. Narrative basically is a story. Lyric, in which a lot of lyric is in Hindi we call it Tukatmak Shaili. Okay, so when every word ends in such a way that you can create a song out of it. It can be a song, an ode. Ode is basically kind of tribute. A sonnet. Sonnet is a 14 lines poem. 14 lines poem made famous by Shakespeare. Elegy, that is basically a kind of a poem which talks about something which is very philosophically exciting. And idyll is basically a poem which talks about a lot of happiness, a lot of excitement, a lot of happiness is there. Dramatic. Tragedy, it is a sad poem. Comedy, it's a happy poem. Melodrama, you understand, in which there are tear jerkers, melodramatic. So there are a lot of drama attached to evoking emotions of pain, tears, sadness, etc. Farce is basically something which is not real, natak jaisa. Social tale, as the name says, you understand what is social tale. So that can have different kind of poems. They won't ask you a genre normally. Now we'll come to these three are there: narrative, lyric, and dramatic. Narrative tells a story. As I told you, it has a plot, characters, setting, and a climax. Lyric poetry, it expresses personal emotions and thoughts. It often includes rhyme and meter and can be sung as a song. Dramatic poetry is meant to perform in a play or theatrical setting. It often includes elements of dialogue, monologue, and characterization. Basically, in that, you can expect lyrical poetries most often because there's a reason for that. The reason for that. So I have gone through the previous few years of that, and I have seen that these are the kind of poems that they were asking and the number of questions that were there. So in 18, there's a poem by Rumi. It was based on philosophy, and it had only two questions. Only two questions. It was a short poem. In 2019, a poem was based on life by Sylvia Plath. It had two questions again. 2020, there's a poem by Robert Frost on nature. It had two questions again. In 2021, a poem by Vikram Seth was there on life. It had two questions. And 22, again, we had a poem on life by Vikram Seth. It had only one question because the poem was very small. Clear? Okay, the poem was very small. Well, now, what kind of questions can be asked? So the most common is theme based. The questions can be: what is the central theme of the entire poem? What can be the theme of the particular stanza? Okay, do you understand stanza? Like in prose, we have paragraphs. In poems, we have stanza. Poem में कभी भी paragraphs नहीं होते. I hope it is clear to everyone. So there can be, like, if you remember in RC, you had central theme, you had supporting theme, right? Main idea, supporting idea. So the theme can be of the entire poem. The theme can be of certain stanzas. Moksh, I'm good. How are you? Cool. Understood. That is stanza. So theme can be both ways. Interpretation of a verse, a single verse. So if you remember in RC, there were questions like, what does author want to convey by saying this specific line? In poetry, it is very much similar. Though they would ask, what is the poet trying to convey, or trying to mean, or trying to signify, or trying to draw a parallel with something by this specific verse? So, like there we had a line, here we have a verse. There we had a sentence, here we have a verse. Inference. This is very common in the prose-based RC as well as poetry-based RC, poem-based RC. So, what can you infer from the usage of such and such word or such and such phrase? They are the kind of questions in poems. Symbolism. This is very important in poems, basically. So, as you know, poems might talk about something else. Like literally, if you read, they will be talking about, let's say, elephant, but in reality, they might be symbolizing a great problem which looks like an elephant. Clear? So that is what symbolism means. We'll come with some examples and that'll be clear. Contextual vocabulary. So, any word which is used in a poem or any kind of artistic literature, sometimes the word that you know has got a literal meaning from the dictionary. But that word somehow can give you another meaning altogether in the context of the given poem. In the context of the given poem. Hello, Tanishq. And here comes the literary devices. Literary devices. I'll talk about few literary devices in this session also. And if you want, I can have a proper session on literary devices. By the way, I think I have given you an entire PDF of figures of speech. I think all of you have that. In case you don't have it, I will send it again. Suitable title of the poem. Contextual vocabulary literary devices. I'll just talk about a few literary devices through questions. So let us go to the next slide now. And I hope you are able to enjoy this beautiful fonts and the beautiful images. Isn't it? Beauty is something I like. As John Keats said, a thing of beauty is joy forever. So this is going to be on the internet, and whenever someone watches it, I want them to feel that it is joy because it is beautiful. The first poem that we are going to do today is Trees by Joyce Kilmer. Today it is based on today's session is based on the poems on nature. Okay, Shalu, I'll send the PDF. There's an entire book that I have written on figures of speech. I'll send that across. Fly Away Over the Sea by Christina Rossetti. Spellbound by Emily Bronte. I think all of you must have heard about Emily Bronte. She's very famous, very popular. Well, here comes the first poem, Trees. This guy is Joyce Kilmer. Let us read the poem. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree. I'm not going to explain it right now. I'll just read this in a way that can give you an alpha level of consciousness. So, right now, what I want from you guys is to be away from all sorts of distractions because we are going to enter into a realm of imagination and a lot of alpha level consciousness. Ready for that? Just be there. Take a deep breath, forget everything, and just be in this poem. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree. A poem lovely as a tree. A tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast. I'll explain this afterwards once you solve the questions. A tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast. A tree that looks at God all day and lifts her loafy arms to pray. Leafy arms to pray. So, so if you have seen a tree, sometimes it looks like through the wind the leaves are joined and the branches move in such a way that the tree is praying to the God. Have you ever seen that? A tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair. Robin is a bird. Upon whose bosom snow has lain, whose intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree by Joyce Kilmer. You enjoyed this poem, isn't it? By the way, Zat would never give you very difficult poems. Normally it is easy. So let us go to the questions now. And I'll explain that after once we have solved the questions. And it is going to be a short session. So 3 poems each. And then for the quant part, we'll be having a 2 hours long session. Cool. Here comes the first question. What is the central theme of the poem? In that, we have five options. The first is a tree is the most beautiful creation of God. Second, a tree is the most beautiful creation of nature. Third, a man can create a poem, not a tree. Fourth, humans are not capable of matching the creativity of nature. Five, tree is a metaphor for a poem. Right, Moksh? It's a very beautiful poem. Come on, tell me your answers. Who says A? Okay. Others? 10 seconds to go. Shweta thinks it's D. Tanish thinks it's A. Okay. Normally we have one or two questions in that. Here comes the second question. Which figure of speech has not been used in the poem? Simile, metaphor, personification, imagery, apostrophe. I think a lot of you might not be aware or not be familiar with these terms. Are you? Shallow thinks it's he. Do you want me to explain these terms? Do you want me to explain these terms? Danish says by logical elimination, it's E. Okay, Danish. So basically, you guys know about the first four terms. Is that so? Simile, metaphor, personification, imagery तो पता है, but apostrophe नहीं पता, तो वही होगा. Shalu knows that. Shalu, tell me what is apostrophe? What is apostrophe? Okay. Similarly, you understand like two things are compared with the words like or as. यहीं पे हो गया. A poem lovely as a tree. So simile is already there. Metaphor, like you compare two things without using any kind of word, like or as. बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है. If you compare, it's a metaphor. So tree has already been, kind of compared. Um, okay. Coming to personification, like if you give the personal life-like attributes to non-living or dead things, that is personification. For example, the winds howled, winds भी बोल रही थी. Walls could hear. That's personification. Imagery can be a vivid whenever a word invokes some kind of image in your mind. That is imagery. So imagery can be of different types. It can be based on what we have written. It can be visual imagery. It can be olfactory imagery. Like there are certain words, if you read them, you get the smell of it, right? Citrus fruits. The citrus line burst upon my face. When I say that, the citrus line burst upon my face, or the undertones of strawberry and citrus lime. So automatically you might be able to smell that or taste it. Did you get it? That is imagery. It is normally used for advertisements for the branding of perfumes and liquors. Imagery. Apostrophe is something. So people can get confused between personification and apostrophe. In apostrophe, what we do, we actually talk to someone or something which is either dead or not present or non-living or a non-human or non-living. Okay, apostrophe. Oh Himalayas, oh mighty ocean. Like in Ramayana, when Ram talks to the ocean that give me some way, so that was apostrophe. Is that clear, everyone? Apostrophe. So apostrophe has not been used anywhere. That is why apostrophe is the correct answer, or if you got that right. Now, only two questions are there. As I said, Zach doesn't ask much questions. Let me explain you this poem. So this is very simple. The author says that I think so. Author is basically the poet. He's writing a poem, and this is a very stylish poem actually. So he's writing a poem on a tree, and he says that tree itself is a poem written by God. Okay, so he says, "A tree's hungry mouth is pressed. Pressed is what is pressed? Like if you are inclined to do something against the earth's sweet flowing breast." So basically, it's like the tree eats from the earth, water and everything, minerals. A tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray. Here we come to know about one thing. There can be a question on this. Now, can I say that the poet is a believer of God, and that is why he has mentioned this. Somehow he loves God. Somehow he wants himself that what if all the humans can look up to God like the tree does? Clear? So there can be n number of questions. Just depends on how much you gather out of the poem. And lifts her leafy arms to pray. That is very simple. So this is imagery, right? A tree that means summer wear. In summers, you can see the leaves falling and trees getting dried up. A nest of robins. Robin is a bird in her hair. Hair is basically the entire group of leaves and the branches and twigs that becomes the hair. Upon whose bosom snow has lain. Bosom is the chest. This part is called bosom. And in the winters, the snow. Okay, have you ever been to this Himachal Pradesh, Kashmir? If you have been there, you might have seen that there are a lot of apple orchards and a lot of snowfall is there. So the entire apple orchard looks like a tree made of snow. Have you seen that? So if you have seen that, you can actually imagine that what is trying author trying to say was intimately who intimately lives with rain. So here from summer to winter to rain, everything has been mentioned, the different seasons. Have you seen that? Himachal. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. So basically, when poet calls himself a fool, what does that mean? That is trying to compare the humans with God, and he says, even if I create a poem, which is the purest form of literature, at the very same time I cannot create a tree. That means a God is a better poet than me, right? So humans are not that much capable as the nature or the God is. That is what the entire meaning of this poem or the central idea of this poem is. So I think a lot of you have marked it wrong. A tree is most beautiful creation of God. This is wrong. Most beautiful, this word most, this is something which is not implied anywhere. That is why A is wrong. A lot of you marked A. And for the similar reason, here also most has been used. A man can create a poem, not a tree. Well, this is right. This has been explicitly mentioned in the last verse. But is that the central theme? Central theme is not that. Central theme is basically we humans have developed so much and we think that we have become very much equivalent to God, that we can create buildings, we can create trees, so not trees, we can create roads, bridges, civilization, mathematics, technology, arts, poems, right? We can do all of that. We can do all of that, but still we cannot create something which is as beautiful, as divine, and as pure as something created by nature. So that is why three, being a very specific idea, is wrong. Fourth, option D is the most central theme. So tree is metaphor for a person. Now, this is something which can be true, but is out of context for the central theme. That is why E is also wrong. We'll go with option four. How many of you got it correct? How many of you got that correct? Coming to the next poem. Fly away over the sea. Only four verses are there by Christina Rossetti. Fly away over the sea. Sun-loving swallow, for summer is done. Come again, come back to me, bringing this summer and bringing the sun. That's it. So if I ask you that, okay, tell me, read this poem, what comes to your mind? Can you explain or try to explain or try to write something, try to draw parallel with any kind of memory that you have just by reading these four verses? What comes to your mind? It can have a lot of interpretations, isn't it? It can be a bird also, which probably comes in the summers, right? And then goes away because summer has gone, so bird has gone over the sea. Sea is basically a metaphor. Here, if I talk about a bird, sea is not a metaphor, but sea denotes the distances. And when summer is back, the bird might come back again. That is one interpretation. The other interpretation is that, you know what? First of all, we are Indians, so for us, summers are extreme. But for them, the Westerners, summer is a very soothing month because it's majorly cold. So you must have heard these songs where just enjoy. Okay, my summer clothes. In the summers, I was there. In the summer, I was sipping my cold, sweet cold beer. All that stuff you must have heard. So summer is a very soothing month for the Western world, right? So we should look from there. Summer for them is not hot; it's warm. This can also, the other interpretation can be probably, as she's a poetess, uh, she might have a lover who, in summer breaks, must be coming back to her village or town, whatever, wherever she lived. And when the summer was gone, he went back, and then, so she's longing, okay, when the summer is there, you can come back again, right? That is her interpretation. One more interpretation is the summer is the feeling of the warm memories, the soothing memories. And the sea can be a metaphor of forgetfulness. Forgetfulness because of the world that we are living in. We get busy with our work, and sometimes those memories, the warm and soothing memories, they just go away. They just go away because we have become busy once, but every time we want to visit that state back again. That can be third interpretation. Isn't it? Is that right? Understood? One more interpretation can be the breeze, the sea breeze, which goes in the summer, and the breeze is very soothing. And the author is longing that that breeze should come back again. Is that clear, everyone? Just four lines, the poet has tried to talk about a lot of things. It is open to interpretation. Gagar mein sagar bhar diya, right? Let us go to the first question. What is the literal meaning of the poem? Summers have gone, winters will come, breeze is flowing over the sea. The poet is longing for the summer to be back again. The poet loves summer a lot. What can be the correct answer over here? Be quick. Kushbu says it's D. All right, Kushbu. Oh, Ritika, hi. You are here. How are you? She also thinks it's D. By the way, I have made some easy questions for the first session. Shweta thinks the same. Of course, it's D only. And all the interpretations that I have given to you, in all the interpretations, there's one thing that poet is longing for, that is the summer has to be back. Summer can be a lover, summer can be the breeze, summer can be the memories, summer can be the condition, but she longs for summers, right? That is something which we are very much clear of. Coming to the next one. Emily Bronte, one of my favorite poetess, and very beautiful. Look at her. Of course, it's not the real picture. It's a painting, probably an AI generated image, but this is how she looked. Emily Bronte. And this is the, I would say, out of all three poems that we're going to discuss today, this is the best poem. And I'll explain that afterwards, as I told earlier. The night is darkening around me, the wild winds coldly blow, but a tyrant spell has bound me, and I cannot go. The giant trees are bending, their bare boughs weighed with snow, and the storm is fast descending, and yet I cannot go. Clouds beyond clouds above me, wastes beyond wastes below, but nothing drear can move me. I will not, I will not, cannot go. Hmm. How's the poem? Let's see how many of you can interpret that by the questions. The first question is this. This can be a bit difficult. What can be the reason for the poet using cannot twice in the fourth verse? Option A. The poet wants to give the poem a lyrical structure. Option B. The poet wants to emphasize that it is too difficult for her to go from the place. C. The poet shows her unwillingness to go from the place. D. The poet wants to emphasize that she is incapable of going from the place. E. The winds are putting her back to the place. This is place, not pals, so I'll just rectify that. Think about it. Is this poem difficult? You're not answering. Khushbu says it's B. Okay. About others, Ritika thinks it's D. Khushbu, do you know me? Do you already know me? This is the first session with me. Shalu, I think you were in the admit sure batch. I'm not wrong. Tanish was in both the batches. Hey, Mansi. Mansi thinks it's B. B. Okay. All right. Coming to, let's see what is the correct answer, because once I explain this poem, probably you'll be at a better position to answer it. And what do you think? The previous poem was easy, the question was easy. What about this one? Is the poem difficult to be comprehended somehow? Okay, visual. The next one. What does bending trees signify? Windstorm, persona of the poet, the mood of the poet, inescapable place. The condition is so adverse that even the strongest could go weak. Where are the guys all in the class? They're not answering anything. Moksh, what happened? Tanishq, Moksh, Samarth, Harsh, where are your answers? Bending trees. कहाँ पे है ये? It's in the second stanza, first verse. The giant trees are bending. Come on, be quick. Khushbu thinks it's E. Okay. Others, Shweta thinks the same. I don't know what has happened to the guys of this class. Pragya thinks it's E. Well done. Coming to the next question. Why poet mention the words clouds and wastes? See, first, she is stuck between heaven and hell. B, she is in a purgatory. It's purgatory or purgatory. What is it? She can see both worlds. All of the above. None of the above. Pragya and Khushbu think it's A. Stuck between heaven and hell. Okay. All right. So the three questions for this, let me explain the poem to you first, and let's see how many of you change the answers. The night is darkening around me. The night. The night can be the bad mood. The night can be literal night. सच में रात हो गई है. The night can be depression. The night can be anxiety, whatever. Darkening around me. So basically, the night is conjuring all the senses of the poet. The wild winds coldly blow. What I'm saying, the wild winds coldly blow. So now we know that it is night and it is cold. So it probably can be the winter season, and the winds are also wild. So she might be in some kind of jungle. But a tyrant spell has bound me. Now this is very important. The tyrant spell. Now this is something which has not been answered or talked about anywhere in the entire poem, isn't it? What's tyrant spell? And this tyrant spell has bound me, and that is why I cannot go. And I cannot go. She's emphasizing. The giant trees are bending, so there's windstorm, cold winds are there, wild winds are there, and the trees are also bending. They are strong, still they're bending. Their bare bows bathed with snow. Even snow is there. It's winter, it's dark, it's chilly, it's there's thunderstorm, everything is there. and the storm is fast descending, and yet I cannot go. Yet I cannot go. Why does she use yet over here? Well, somehow it feels like she wants to go, but she cannot go. Yet कि इतनी सारी गलत चीजें हो रही तब भी मैं नहीं जा पा रही हूँ. There can be two interpretations. Either either the tyrant spell is depression or the death. Death as well. Depression can be a figurative death. So it has bound and she cannot move. One thing is that. The other thing is that she is realizing that everything is happening around her and she is not going. Probably she doesn't even want to go. That can also be a reason, isn't it? Shalu, Pragya, Kushbu, Ritika, Moksh, Tanishk. That can be also the reason. Okay, let us do third stanza. Clouds beyond, clouds above me. Clouds beyond, clouds above me. Waste beyond, waste below. चलो clouds हमारे ऊपर होंगे ही होंगे, ठीक है. Waste. The entire earth is waste? Not really. So somehow you can interpret that she is lying in between the realm of life and death. She has already died and she is lying in the realm of choosing between heaven, that is the clouds, and the hell that is beneath her. Like Shalu just said, death. But nothing drear can move me. I will not, cannot go. अभी तो मान लिया कि मैं नहीं जाना चाहती. I will not. अभी तक can था, now it is will as well. So I will not, cannot go. She cannot go and she will not go. So basically, she cannot go. So what is this tyrant spell? This is the only question, only word that has not been explained anywhere in the entire poem, and this is open to a lot of interpretations. Is she dead? Is she depressed? Is she inside a jail? Is she in a purgatory? She can be anywhere, but there is one thing that we are sure of, that she is in a very bad state of either mind or place or situation. Right? That is what we can say. Clear? Now, when we go to the first question, it talks about why poet has used cannot twice. पहला है कि she wants to give the poem a lyrical structure. Of course not. To create a lyrical structure, normally we use the last words, not the words in between. So A is of course wrong. Because I told you about lyrics when I began the class. The poet wants to emphasize that it's too difficult for her to go from the place. Okay, I'll just put a question mark. Probably it is true. Let us read other options also. Third one says the poet shows her unwillingness to go from the place. She's not willing to go. She's not willing to go. यहाँ पे तो है, पोएम में तो है, बट क्या इस जगह पे है? In the fourth verse, in the fourth verse, not really. That is why C can be dropped down. Is that clear? Overall, overall, we can say that she's unwilling to go, but according to the question, we should answer only about this verse. Clear? Yes, Pragya. D. The poet wants to emphasize that she is incapable of going from the place. This can also be true. I put a question mark. The winds are putting her back to the place. Um, of course, this could be true if these two statements are not there. That is why E is very weak statement. Now we have to choose between B and D. Here she says it is difficult for her to go. She says she's incapable of going from the place. So now understand. If you say I cannot go, I cannot go. That means it's difficult for you to go. It also means they're incapable of going from there. But if you emphasize on that word again, what does that mean? That even if you want to go, you cannot go. Right? So whenever something is difficult, it is still possible. difficulty gives an indication that still possible. ठीक है, मुश्किल तो है, पर हम मेहनत करके कर लेंगे. But when someone is incapable, that means it cannot happen at all. So using cannot twice is emphasizing that I am incapable of going from there. Okay, if it was difficult, probably I would have gone. So between B and D, D will be a better choice, and that is why we'll go with D. Clear? How many of you got it right? Right, Pragya. How many of you got this right? It was a bit difficult question. Coming to the next one. Bending trees. Trees are giant, they are bending. That simply means okay, the winds are there, but the trees are giant, still they are bending. So the wind is so strong that even the strongest things can move. That is what we talk about. Windstorm, a very specific case. Persona of the poet can be a possibility. Mood of poet can be a possibility. Inescapable place. No, bending trees with place the correlation nahi hai, cannot be the true the correct answer. Condition is so adverse that even the strongest could go weak. Exactly. So this is persona and mood are too generic, but this one is too specific. And the word giant actually gives actually makes you understand that they're talking about the something which is strong, strength. So D is clear. Pragya. Persona. Okay, what is persona? Nice question. Persona is a mask that we humans wear in front of the world. That is persona. Okay. So in psychology, there are four different um, aspects of a personality. One is called persona, the other is called anima, then we have animus. Then there is one more word which I have forgotten. Anima means the female side of a man. Animus means the male side of a woman. And the fourth one, which I tend to forget, means the animal side of a human. Clear? So now you have learned three new words. The fourth one have forgotten. So you guys will be, you have to do one thing. You have to find that word out, the animal side of a human. रणबीर कपूर मत लिख देना कि रणबीर कपूर में एनिमल साइड था नॉट दैट so and in the comment you will tell me what is that fourth aspect of human's personality. Clear? Okay. The next one, clouds and wastes. I think I already explained that to you. So stuck between heaven and hell, of course that can be true. That can be true. She's in a purgatory. That can also be true. That can also be true. In purgatory, you know what is purgatory? Purgatory, purge. You know what purge? The festival of dead. So purgatory is a place where these practices are there. So there is purgatory. So that can also be true because we don't know really. She can see both worlds. This can also be true. Both worlds, constant worlds, the clouds and wastes, or the death and life. So basically, because we have this all of the above, all of the above, can you mark that? Not really, because someone is in a purgatory. This is a too specific case, very specific. We do not have enough information about that. We can interpret it somehow. It's a poem, but that is too specific. That is why we cannot go with B. She can see both worlds. Now, these both worlds are not known. Which both worlds are we talking about? That is C is also wrong, and D, of course, is wrong. A is the most correct choice. The correct answer is A. You can get confused and mark D like Shallow did, I think. The answer is A. Clear? This can confuse people. So, that was the last poem for today. And I need you to read this quote. Literary works have the power to transport us to worlds far beyond our own and to open our eyes to new perspectives. They can inspire us to take stands, to take action, and to think differently. In short, they're essential for to our individual growth and to the health of our society. How many believe in that? And I hope in this short session I try to take you to another world. And this is the first session of it, so I wanted to just understand that what is exactly your need. So tell me the two things which I'm going to ask. Do you want me to have a session specific to figures of speech? Do you want me to do that? That is the first thing. The other thing is now I think you guys are somehow in the mood of poems. So I'll have one more session of that, and in that I'll be giving you really difficult questions. So these two things must be addressed. Are you ready for the difficult questions? And do you want a session on figure of speech as well? So tell me in the comments, be quick. And the next session will be based on that. Tomorrow we have a session on geometry for XAT by Sajjan sir, and day after tomorrow I'll take the next session for poem-based RC, in which okay, all of you are agreeing to it. I'll take the first 30 minutes. I'll be taking the figures of speech, and then I'll be doing a lot of very difficult questions, and also involve some PYQs. Clear? Critical reasoning, Chalu, it's also there in the plan of things. I'll share the entire timetable in this YouTube community. You can just go and see it over there. Kashish, Dilip. Okay, poems. Good. Critical reasoning, decision making, all things will be there. Till 6, we are doing a live session every day. All right. So yeah, there's something which everyone YouTube on YouTube says. So I will say that like and subscribe. But why does it happen? To make a connection, basically, to have a bonding so that we are on the same page. And here I would like to take your leave. See you in the next session. A short session, but I think it was quite enlightening. And now we are more connected. We'll keep on improving this connection and relation in the upcoming classes. Till then, take care. All the best. Be prepared. If CAT somehow did not go well, there is that. And there are a lot of nice colleges in that as well. Bye, everyone. Good night.